Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Nails, Coffee, and Crime, hosted by me, Caitlin Keyless. Today, I'll be showing you just a basic dip powder application. If you're not familiar with dip powder, it's an acrylic powder that you apply using a pro base and an activator, unlike other acrylic systems that use a monomer. It's super easy, it's very DIY, anybody can do it. At the bottom of each frame, you're going to be able to read a detailed step-by-step. And there's a catch. As you are watching my dip powder tutorial, I'll be doing a voiceover giving you a local Mississippi true crime story. Well, it's local to me. The story I will be giving you today is about a grandmother and her two grandchildren spending a beautiful morning on a Saturday together until their lives were forever changed. This is the story of Keith Reader. Okay, enough with the chit chat and let's get started. Saturday morning on May 16th, a 54-year-old grandmother was spending a beautiful Saturday morning in her apartments at Pearlwood Apartment Complex in Pearl, Mississippi with her two granddaughters that were both under the age of 12. That is, until someone abruptly invaded their home. And the man that invaded their home is Keith Reader. Reader knocked on the door, and as the grandmother answered, Reader then barged himself inside the residence. This is where the lives of the family will forever be changed. Reader began immediately assaulting the grandmother, just beating the crap out of her until she could barely move. He then took her and put her in one of her own bedrooms and then restrained her hands together. And then what happens next is truly the most horrific of all, and it's really disheartening, and it's hard for me to even say myself. But Reader then went and restrained both of the young girls. And then after that, he begins violently raping both of these children in their grandmother's apartment. Because they are both minors and victims, their names and ages are withheld from all media, so I wasn't able to get an exact age on these girls, but still, if under 12, that's still horrific no matter the age. But I was looking to see how exactly young they were. Well, at this point, the grandmother is left all alone. She's tied up in this room, as well as listening to the screams of terror from her grandbaby girls. The grandmother, she's eventually able to wiggle out of all of her restraints, and miraculously, there was a working phone that was left in the room with her. So at 1:30 p.m., the grandmother, she was able to call 911 for help. While on the 911 call, Reader caught drift that she was getting some help, and he began assaulting her some more. He just kept wailing on her. Well, the first responder on the scene was Officer Wilkes Carter with the Pearl River Police Department. He arrived exactly 2 minutes after the 911 call was placed. Upon arriving on the scene, he immediately heard screams inside the residence. Now, protocol is to wait for backup. It's to wait to back up to arrive on the scene because the officer has no idea what he's walking into. Absolutely no idea. And his life could be then in danger too. But that is protocol. Well, Officer Carter did not follow this protocol. And because of this, 3 victims are still alive today. Officer Carter forced himself into the home without backup. The 2 young girls were there as soon as he walked in the door, and they were pointing in the direction where Reader was hiding. They pointed to the attic. where of course Officer Carter immediately went, and Officer Carter and Reader began to have a struggle, and eventually they both fell straight through the ceiling. Because of Officer Carter's selfless decision in going into this residence without help, without knowing what he could be walking into, he is now deemed a hero by Chief Dean Scott of the Pearl River Police Department. Keith Reader was arrested on Saturday, May 16th, and he is held at the Rankin County Detention Center without bond. This is huge when you are held without bond. Usually they might put a higher bond on you, but not even giving you the option of bond, that means you committed some serious crime. He is charged with 3 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of home invasion, 4 counts of sexual battery, 2 counts of child abuse, 1 count of armed robbery, 1 count of rape, which it did say he raped both of the girls, so I don't know. 1 count of gratification of lust, and 1 count of aggravated assault with a weapon. Now let me give you a little bit of a past about Keith Reader, which I couldn't find much, but what I did find was he's 46 and he's from Brandon, Mississippi. He lived nearly a quarter of a mile away from this apartment complex. A quarter of a mile. Right down the road from this apartment complex. Well, he was also a convicted felon. So his previous charges are larceny, burglary, and a bunch of drug charges. But he actually doesn't have any sex crime charges. So that was really interesting. But doesn't mean he hasn't done it before. It just means he hasn't been caught. WLBT news station in Jackson, they attempted to interview some of Reader's neighbors, and I saw a picture of his house, and he had a pretty nice house. I mean, it was, your average middle class house. So, I don't know. WLBT had a hard time, just getting stuff out of people. Most of them didn't want to even comment. But the ones that they could get anything on, they said he was just basically just a nice guy, but they were aware he had a track record and he was a criminal. So they just kind of stayed clear. So Pearl, Mississippi has a population of 24,000. And unfortunately, Pearl's crime rate is higher than the national average. It might have to do with their poverty rate being close to 50%. I'm not sure. But there is no way for anyone to know when our lives are about to change. And this family are now victims of someone that lives so close to them and could be considered a neighbor. You just really have no idea. You don't know who you're answering the doors to. So I just preach to keep your doors locked, especially if you're alone, and it doesn't matter who it is. Not even your mailman. I keep it locked until they walk away. But, for this situation, it was just, how could they know? They couldn't have known. There was no way to give them a little red flag. But going forward, their lives will forever be changed because of this one event.